Hi! If you're looking for story-driven games you can play with friends, you're in the right place. Today, we've picked the best co-op games where the story isn't just a backdrop, it's the driving force. These games are all about shared experiences, decisions made together, and unforgettable moments, not just shooting and combat. I'll start with Evil West. This is a flashy co-op action game that takes us to an alternate version of the Wild West, where vampires and mutants roam instead of rival gangs and native tribes. Players take on the role of cowboy agents from a secret organization that hunts supernatural creatures. Alone or with a friend, you travel across the dark, bloody landscapes of America to stop the spreading darkness and save the country from total infection. Every mission brings fast-paced combat filled with brutal finishers, electric weapons, firearms, and customizable melee gloves. At times, it feels like a mix of Doom and God of War, just with a cowboy twist. Sniper Elite 5. The sequel takes us to Nazi-occupied France during World War II. Your main goal is to disrupt enemy plans, eliminate officers, and sabotage a secret project. Open levels let you choose how to approach each mission, sneak around quietly, or cause total chaos. The core of the game is still realistic shooting, where every detail affects the outcome. The toolkit has expanded. You can now modify rifles, customize optics, and build unique setups. In addition to the single-player campaign, there's co-op and PvP, where players can invade each other's missions as German snipers or defend against them. Sons of the Forest. This is a survival horror sequel where players find themselves on a remote island filled with dark secrets. You're here looking for a missing billionaire, but soon realize you'll be exploring the island under constant threat from mutants and cannibals. The gameplay revolves around surviving in a realistic environment. Hunger, temperature, fatigue, and seasons all matter. In summer, you hunt, fish, and stockpile supplies. In winter, it's a fight for food, warmth, and shelter. Building camps, traps, and defenses takes time, resources, and full teamwork. Gears 5, one of the biggest and most technically polished entries in the legendary Gears of War franchise. This time, the focus is not only on the epic story, but also on a variety of game modes. Players can go through a large-scale campaign solo or in 3-player co-op, battling old and new enemies in a post-apocalyptic world. Co-op modes include the campaign, the classic horde mode, where players fight off waves of enemies, and escape, where a squad must flee an enemy stronghold under pressure from time and the swarm. Every mode demands teamwork and smart hero selection, each with unique classes and abilities. Elden Ring, Nightreign. This is a standalone game set in the Elden Ring universe, featuring unique mechanics and a focus on team survival. Players are thrown into a twisted fantasy kingdom plagued by a dark phenomenon. Everything changes at night, enemies grow stronger, the map shrinks, and survival demands total focus. The gameplay revolves around a 3-day cycle during which players explore the world, interact with locals, and prepare for a final showdown with the main boss. Most battles take place at night, when monsters become especially aggressive and deadly. Co-op mode supports up to 3 players, each choosing their own unique skill builds and gear setups. Ghost of Tsushima. The game takes us to the era of the Mongol invasion of Japan in the 13th century. The main character is a samurai who survives a devastating defeat. Left alone, he abandons the traditional code of honor to fight back against the invaders and save his homeland. The world stuns with its beauty. Blooming fields, misty forests, and snowy mountains paint a vivid picture of feudal Japan. Players have access to an open world full of side quests, secrets, and places to explore. With the release of the online mode, the game got a second life. Now you can battle waves of Mongol forces in a team of up to 4 players. Grounded. This is a bright but brutal co-op game about kids who are shrunk down and thrown into the massive world of a backyard. Now, the size of ants, they must survive among deadly insects. Even a spider feels like a boss-level threat. Players have to gather resources, build defenses out of leaves and sticks, craft weapons, and protect themselves from bugs, mites, and other creatures. Co-op mode makes survival more fun. Up to 4 players can explore, build, and fight off swarms of insects together. Dying Light 2: Stay Human, the sequel to the hit parkour zombie apocalypse game, where mobility and smart use of the environment are key to survival. During the day, it's all about scavenging and survival. At night, it becomes a full-on horror experience with deadly mutants. In co-op, you can complete story missions and side quests, explore rooftops, and race through infected zones. Each player can level up, craft weapons from scrap and parts, and take on different team roles. The game keeps its dark tone and high pace, especially at night when the enemies grow tougher and more aggressive. Outriders, a fast-paced third-person shooter with RPG elements set on a hostile alien planet where survival is already a victory. Players become Outriders, warriors with superpowers and heavy firepower. There are 4 classes to choose from, each with its own abilities and combat style. Gameplay is all about switching cover, using powers, and working together as a team. The campaign supports 3-player co-op, and the entire progression system is built around teamwork. Classes complement each other, abilities can be combined, and bosses demand coordination and strategy. Atlas Fallen. This game offers a co-op journey through a shattered world where players control heroes who can manipulate sand. One is a melee fighter with transformable weapons, while the other is a nimble ranged character with special abilities. The focus is on spectacular battles with sandborne monsters and team-based skill combos. For example, one player can launch an enemy into the air while the other finishes it off with a powerful strike. Parkour, vertical gameplay, and fast movement across dunes bring dynamic action. Unlocking skills together enhances the synergy between characters. Split Fiction, a co-op adventure starring 2 heroines trapped in the chaos of their own imaginations. Zoya and Nioh travel through worlds governed by unique physics and visual styles. The game is built around tight cooperation. Level mechanics require precise coordination. Jumping, fighting, puzzles, and special abilities all rely on teamwork. Each new level feels like a separate game with its own rules. It's not just about syncing abilities. Emotional cooperation matters too, as mistakes can hurt the team. Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, an adventure set in the world of Pandora where players control Na'vi warriors fighting for the planet's freedom. Co-op mode lets 2 players complete the full campaign, featuring aerial battles on banshees, stealth missions, and massive assaults on enemy bases. Players can mix styles, one using traditional Na'vi weapons, the other human firearms. Each character levels up combat skills, crafts gear, and unlocks supernatural powers. The world reacts to player choices. Actions during battles influence the story and environment. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, a tactical military shooter in an open world where an elite squad fights renegades and drone armies on a remote island. The entire game is built around tactical coordination, positional combat, and survival mechanics. You'll need to treat injuries, find supplies, and use gear wisely. Co-op mode brings out the best of it. Synchronized takedowns, covering fire, drone scouting, and coordinated mission execution offer deep immersion. Lords of the Fallen, a dark RPG centered around the concept of parallel worlds, the realm of the living and the dead. Heroes can shift between them using a mystical lantern, revealing hidden paths and enemy weaknesses. The combat is fast and punishing, with dodges, parries, and precise timing. The full story can be played in co-op, with players sharing loot and magic. In PvE, coordination is key during massive boss battles. Players can also invade other co-op duos, turning teamwork into tactical PvP showdowns. Remnant II, a mix of third-person shooter and Souls-like combat, where players travel through various dimensions infected by a mysterious parasite. Each world is randomly generated, including level structure, enemies, and loot, making every session unique. Three-player co-op is the core of the gameplay. Classes complement each other, and it's essential to combine skills and playstyles. Bosses are massive and aggressive, requiring tight coordination. The game features a deep class system, weapon crafting, and passive bonuses, making every build distinct. It's challenging, but rewards persistence and teamwork. Code Vein, a dark post-apocalyptic action game with a strong anime aesthetic and deep Souls-inspired mechanics. You play as a revenant, an immortal vampire-like being that feeds on blood, uses magic and implants, and struggles to stay sane in a ruined world. The game offers a detailed skill tree and allows you to fight alongside an AI companion or another player. Co-op enables joint attacks and role distribution, turning battles into cinematic, tactically rich encounters with grotesque monsters. Fallout 76, the first fully online game in the Fallout universe, where players wake up 25 years after the bombs fell, in the wastelands of West Virginia, trying to rebuild civilization under the threat of nuclear devastation. Up to 4 players can team up to raid mutants, build bases, complete group missions, and even launch nukes in PvP zones. Instead of a traditional story, the game leans into sandbox survival, crafting, and social interaction, from friendly camps to hostile showdowns with other players. Nioh 2, a hardcore action RPG set in a fantasy version of Japan, where reality is fused with demonic myth. You play as a half-human, half-demon warrior who can not only master weapons but also temporarily transform into a yokai, unleashing devastating abilities. The game's core is a deep, technical combat system based on stances, counterattacks, and stamina management. Co-op mode supports up to 3 players with equal access to missions and progress. You can also summon AI allies in single-player mode to help tackle tough challenges. Far Cry 6 takes players to a fictional Latin American country where a dictator wages a brutal war against a growing resistance. You play as one of the revolutionaries fighting to overthrow the regime using guerrilla tactics. The game features the largest map in series history, including cities, jungles, farms, and military bases. Gameplay focuses on open-world exploration, crafting, using vehicles, and receiving help from animal companions. The campaign supports co-op, though only the host retains story progress, a decision that received criticism. Still, the second player can collect resources, upgrade gear, and take part in massive shootouts. Co-op games with real narrative weight are rare, but when done right, they become unforgettable adventures that bring people together. We hope you've discovered something new or remembered an old favorite worth replaying with great company. The Image Game Channel was with you. Have a nice day.